Chosen one, I want you to mentally scan the last 120 minutes of your day. Does it feel like a blur to you? You have been awake, but you have not really been here, have you? You have been staring at screens but seeing nothing. You have had 100 thoughts but cannot remember a single one of them. You feel a strange restlessness in your chest, like you are waiting for a notification that never comes. Listen to me carefully. You are not distracted. You are being jammed. Exactly 2 hours ago, God initiated a connection to deliver a massive download into your spirit. But the moment that channel opened, the enemy flooded your mind with white noise to drown it out. That brain fog, that sudden exhaustion, that irritation, it is not biology. It is a smoke screen. God has been waiting in the silence while you battled the noise. He hasn't left. He is still standing there. And right now, we are going to mute the world so you can finally hear what he has been waiting 2 hours to tell you. I need you to understand the physical sensation you are feeling right now. That pressure in your chest, that tightness in your jaw. The Bible speaks of this in Revelation chapter 3 verse 20. We often hear the verse, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock." And we imagine a polite tap on a wooden door. But the original Greek word used there is kruo. Kruo does not mean a gentle tap. It means a vibration, a heavy pressure. It is the sensation of someone standing so close to the door that you can feel their presence through the wood. That anxiety you felt 2 hours ago was not panic. It was the kruo. It was the heavy, vibrating presence of God pressing against the door of your consciousness. But because the signal was jammed, your body interpreted that holy pressure as stress. Now, listen to me. You need to stop beating yourself up. You are sitting there thinking you are lazy, or that you lack discipline, or that you have backslid. You are telling yourself that you are a bad steward of time. Stop it. That guilt is part of the jamming signal. The enemy wants you focused on your failure, so you miss the message. Let's zoom into the moment this happened. Think back. You picked up your phone, intending to look up a Bible verse or send a prayer request. Your intention was pure. But before you could open the app, a notification slid down, or a video auto-played. And suddenly, 20 minutes vanished. You looked up and felt drained, confused, and further away from God than when you started. That was not an accident. That was a calculated interception. Why would the enemy work so hard to steal 20 minutes of your time? He does not care about your time. He cares about your timing. He jammed the signal because the file God is trying to download to you right now contains the instructions for your next season. It is the blueprint for your reassignment. If you receive this file, you become dangerous to the kingdom of darkness, so he flooded you with white noise to keep the connection unstable. That is why you must stay with me until the very last second of this video. Do not let the distraction win, because by the end of this recording, I am going to reveal exactly what that blocked message is, and I am going to give you a tool to stabilize your frequency so this never happens again. We are going to break the jam. To win this war, you have to understand the science of the battlefield. This isn't just spiritual metaphors. This is biology. Your brain operates on frequencies, just like a radio. When you are stressed, anxious, looking at social media, or rushing to meet a deadline, your brain is in a state called high beta. Beta is the frequency of survival. It is loud. It is fast. It is chaotic. It is useful for running from a bear, but it is terrible for hearing God. God does not broadcast on the beta frequency. He broadcasts on the theta frequency. Theta is the state of deep relaxation, creativity, and spiritual connection. It is the border between the conscious and the subconscious. Here is the problem. You are trying to tune into a station broadcasting on FM 105, but your internal radio is stuck on AM 600. It does not matter how loud God speaks. If you are on the wrong frequency, all you will hear is static. We see this dynamic clearly in 1 Kings chapter 19 with the prophet Elijah. Elijah was on a mountain, waiting for God to speak. First, there was a great wind that tore the mountains apart, but the Bible says the Lord was not in the wind. Then there was an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. Then there was a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. Why? Because wind, earthquake, and fire are high-intensity, chaotic, beta-frequency events. They are loud, they demand attention. But after the fire came a still small voice, a whisper. That is the theta frequency. God was waiting for the noise to die down, so Elijah could tune into the frequency where the transmission was happening. You have been looking for God in the earthquake of your problems and the fire of your anxiety, but He is waiting in the whisper. So, how do you know if you are currently under a jamming attack? How do you distinguish between normal distraction and a spiritual blockade? I am going to give you a diagnostic checklist right now. There are 3 specific signs that your frequency is being deliberately jammed. The first sign is the phantom vibration. This is a state of hypervigilance. You feel a constant need to check your phone, your email, or the news, even though you know nothing has happened. You feel a vibration in your pocket when there is no notification. This is your spirit sensing a communication attempt from heaven, but your flesh is misinterpreting it as a digital signal. You are checking the wrong inbox. The second sign is the loop of doom. This is when a single negative thought gets stuck in your mind like a broken record. You try to pray, but your mind snaps back to that one awkward conversation, that one financial worry, that one person who betrayed you. I knew a chosen one who spent 3 hours pacing his floor, replaying an argument he had 5 years ago. He thought he was just angry. In reality, the enemy was using that memory as a frequency jammer to prevent him from receiving a breakthrough idea that was hovering right above his head. The moment he broke the loop, the idea landed, and it changed his entire career. The third sign is sudden irritation. This is when you feel an irrational anger toward innocent things. The sound of someone chewing, a slow traffic light, a question from a child. You snap at them, and then you immediately wonder, why did I do that? That irritation is the friction caused by 2 opposing frequencies grinding against each other. Your spirit is trying to ascend to theta, but your environment is anchoring you in beta. The friction creates heat, and that heat comes out as anger. If you recognize any of these signs, take a deep breath. Do not exhale yet. Hold it. Acknowledge that you are under attack. Now exhale. You are not crazy. You are just out of tune. But here is the hard truth we have to face. Accessing the theta state, the place where God's voice is clear, is incredibly difficult in the modern world. In ancient times, the mystics, the prophets, and the desert fathers would spend days, sometimes weeks, in absolute silence to lower their brain waves from beta to theta. They would fast. They would meditate in caves. They would separate themselves from society completely just to get a few minutes of clear reception. But you do not have that luxury. You have a job, you have a family, you have bills, you have a phone that pings every 30 seconds. The world is designed to keep you in high beta. It is engineered to keep you disconnected. This is why you feel like God is distant. He is not distant. He is just on a channel you have been blocked from accessing. The Bible commands us in Psalm 46 verse 10, "Be still and know that I am God." That phrase, "be still," comes from the Hebrew word rapha. It means to go limp, to slacken, to drop your hands, to let go of all tension. It is a physical description of the body entering a deep theta state. But how do you go limp when the world demands you to be rigid? How do you be still when your survival depends on moving fast? If it takes 20 years of monk-like discipline to master this state, do you just accept that you will never hear God clearly? No, because God knows what generation you were born into. He knows the noise you are fighting, and He has provided a way. What if I told you there is a back door? What if there was a way to bypass the noise and synchronize your brain to the divine frequency, not in 20 years, but in 7 minutes? What if science has finally caught up with what the prophets knew thousands of years ago? This is the key that I am about to hand to you. It is the reason the enemy tried to jam this video, because once you have this key, his noise no longer works. Chosen one. Imagine a tuning fork. When you strike a tuning fork that is calibrated to a specific pitch, every other tuning fork in the room that is calibrated to that same pitch begins to vibrate, even if you never touched them. It is called sympathetic resonance. For years, you have been trying to force your brain into the theta state through willpower, and it is exhausting. But what if, instead of forcing it, you simply introduced a sound wave that was already vibrating at the theta frequency? Your brain, designed by God to seek harmony, would naturally sync up with that frequency. It is not magic, it is entrainment. This is the backdoor I told you about. It is a sound technology called the genius wave. Think of it as a spiritual tuning fork. This is not a hack, it is a restoration. NASA research has shown that 98% of children are born with their brains operating primarily in this genius theta state. That is why children are so connected to the spiritual realm. But by the time we become adults, that number drops to 2%. The world beats the frequency out of us. This technology simply reminds your brain of its original factory setting. It is a digital audio track that uses advanced brainwave entrainment to guide your mind from the chaos of beta down to the stillness of theta in just 7 minutes a day. You do not need to be a monk. You just need to listen. I am not telling you to replace your prayer life. I am giving you a tool to clear the static so your prayer life actually works. Think of it as cleaning the windshield before you drive. If you feel led by the Spirit to investigate this technology, I have placed the information in the pinned comment below. Do not feel pressured. But if your spirit is leaping right now, that is your confirmation to explore it. Now, why does this matter? Why is it life or death for you to fix your frequency right now? Because once the static is cleared, the file that God has been waiting 2 hours to download can finally land. And I am going to tell you exactly what that message is. The reason the enemy jammed you so hard is because God is issuing a reassignment. You are not just going to the next level. You are being moved to a completely different department in the kingdom. The keys you used in the last season will not open the doors in this season. The way you prayed, the way you worked, the way you related to people, that was for the old assignment. The new assignment requires a level of authority that can only be accessed in the theta zone. But here is the catch. As I say the word reassignment, you do not feel excited, you feel terrified, you feel a knot in your stomach, and a thought is creeping into your mind right now. Who am I to do this? They are going to find out I am a fraud. I am not qualified for this. That thought is the shadow. It is the imposter syndrome trying to reject the upgrade. But let me reframe this for you. That fear is not a sign that you are disqualified. It is the proof that you are chosen. We see this exact pattern in Exodus chapter 4 with Moses. God gives him a massive assignment to liberate a nation. And Moses does not say, "Thank you, Lord, I am ready." He says, "Who am I?" He says, "Lord, I am slow of speech and slow of tongue." He points out his inadequacy. He argues with God. But notice God's response. He does not choose someone else. He says, "Who gave human beings their mouths? I will help you speak and will teach you what to say." God did not pick the most qualified candidate. He picked the most available frequency. Your feeling of unworthiness is actually a safety mechanism. It ensures that when the power flows through you, you will not take the credit for it. If you felt fully qualified, you would be dangerous to yourself. Your fear is just humility in disguise, so stop letting the enemy use your humility as a weapon against you. I want to warn you, when you start aligning with this new assignment, when you start using tools to stabilize your frequency, The noise will try to return. The enemy will not give up his territory easily. He will try to drag you back into the beta state with sudden crises and urgent emergencies. You need to be ready to stand your ground. Let me tell you about a woman we will call Sarah. Sarah ran a small consulting business that was drowning in debt. She was working 18 hours a day, operating in high-stress beta, trying to solve her problems with logic. She was begging God for a solution, but all she heard was silence. She felt abandoned. Then she discovered this concept of frequency. She stopped working 18 hours. She started using the brainwave entrainment tool for 7 minutes every morning before she even looked at her phone. For 3 days, nothing happened. But on the 4th day, while she was sitting in that quiet theta state, she heard a phrase drop into her spirit. Blue ocean. It made no sense. But she followed the thread. It led her to a completely different market strategy she had never considered. She executed it. In 6 months, her business didn't just survive, its revenue tripled. She didn't work harder, she tuned in. The answer was always there, broadcasting in theta, but she had been too busy screaming in beta to hear it. This is the posture of the watchman described in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 1. The prophet says, "I will stand at my watch and station myself on the ramparts. I will look to see what he will say to me." The rampart is not just a physical wall, it is a spiritual elevation. It is rising above the noise of the city to a place where the air is clear. That is what you are doing. You are climbing the rampart. Now, we are going to seal this. We are going to activate this reassignment right now. You do not need to be in a church to do this. You are the temple. If you are driving or lying down, do not move. I want you to perform a mental action. Close your eyes, if it is safe, or keep them soft. I want you to visualize yourself standing up in the spirit. In your mind's eye, see yourself rising from your chair, standing tall, shoulders back, chin up. Place your spiritual hand over your physical heart. Feel the beat. That is the rhythm of purpose. We are going to commission you. Father, in the name that is above every name, we step into the courtroom of heaven right now. We acknowledge that for the last 2 hours, and maybe the last 2 years, this chosen one has been battling a frequency war. Lord, you know the exhaustion. You know the mental fog. You know how hard they have tried to break through. But today, we declare the jamming signal is broken. I seal the revelation of the reassignment into their spirit. I bind the spirit of imposter syndrome that whispers they are not enough. I silence the voice of the accuser. I declare that their mind is now a sanctuary, tuned to the frequency of the throne room. I seal the theta state over them. I declare that when they seek you in the silence, they will find you instantly. I decree that over the next 7 days, the download will finish. The clarity will be startling. The strategy for the new season will drop into their mind with such precision that they will know it could only come from you. Doors that were locked will open because the key is in the frequency. Relationships that were draining will fall away. Divine connections will magnetize to them. Chosen one, hear the question of the Lord. He is asking you, are you willing to walk in this new authority? Are you willing to look foolish to the world so you can be wise in the spirit? If your answer is yes, I want you to scream yes inside your mind. Let it echo in the chambers of your soul. Scream it now. Good. It is recorded. The contract is signed. The frequency is locked. You are no longer waiting for the signal. You are the signal. Walk in it. You are dismissed.